We have to keep up with the time. So I request everyone in the hall to kindly be seated, and all our members who are outside the hall to kindly join us inside, as this would help us in beginning our session on time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I request you all to keep your mobile phones on silent mode, and can we have a little bit of silence in the hall, please? We now move to the Bureau of Energy Efficiency announcement by the Ministry of Power, Government of India. And it is my privilege in inviting the Director General of Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Ministry of Power, Government of India, Shri Abhay Bhakre, to kindly join us onto the stage and make the announcements. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly be settling down, please. Kindly bring your coffee and be settling down. Please bring your coffee, and we'll again have a tea break. Kindly settle down, please. Requesting Shri Abhay Bhakre to kindly take over. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Very good morning to all of you. I am Abhay Bhakre, Director General, Bureau of Energy Efficiency. As we all know that this mission, which is officially launched by the Cabinet early this year in the month of January, it was also preceded by another landmark decision by the government because Honorable Parliament approved the amendment to Energy Conservation Act. And if I quote Honorable Power Minister's words in the Parliament, that this amendment is actually futuristic. It will set forth many possibilities, the strength for the government to come out with effective policies, to roll out programs in terms of our decarbonization efforts, not only to immediate term, that's by 2030, but of course for the long term up to 2070. As we discussed in the morning by Sri Gupta, CMD Seki, Sri Bhallaji, and Professor Sood. So how do we really take it forward, the decarbonization effort? And Bureau, as a Bureau of Energy Efficiency, or Bureau of also designated now Bureau of Energy Transition, we have a very key role to play in this particular sector of green hydrogen. Perhaps if I take you back almost 11 years back, in 2012 we launched this National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency. So Bureau launched this program, and after 10 years, when we celebrated, we had a remarkable success. All the industries, sectors, the line ministries, the regulators, think tanks, auditors, all of them really participated in this mission, and now we are enhancing this mission to another 10 years, that's by 2030. Now, how did we actually proceed it? There were key elements which now they are again relevant to the green hydrogen mission, and we will be taking some of them to you. This mission, and as discussed in the morning, it has the R&D part, it has the production part, the PLI part, it has the utilization, and of course the export part. Now, all of this, if we really see, needs kind of a financing, needs kind of effective policies. But most important, there has to be some kind of a regulatory backup. Those policies have to be supported by some kind of rules, regulations, or any other kind of legal backing. And that gives a lot of strength. It gives confidence to the industries, the stakeholders like all of you, and also for the different governments, how to actually procure the green hydrogen, how are you going to utilize it. So these some of the aspects which we will be touching upon. As you all know, that when the standards for green hydrogen, 2 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram green hydrogen was prescribed by the MNRE, in that the certification, that is, who is going to certify this 2 kg hydrogen, what is the procedure for certification, and how these certifiers will get empaneled, means they have to be recognized, they have to be accredited. These are the mandate given to Bureau, and I'll be touching upon that. Also, as mentioned by Secretary Sri Bhallaji, we'll be saying how are you actually going to use these certification as well as the carbon market, where the Bureau is the nodal agency, to utilize some of the initial viability gap funding to actually promote more production of green hydrogen. So very quickly, as I mentioned that after the amendment of Energy Conservation Act, we had this carbon credit scheme. So the amendment has two important provisions in the act. One is about how to roll out the empowering central government to roll out the carbon credit trading scheme, which was finally notified in June 2023, and also provisions that government can mandate different kinds of renewable or the non-fossil fuels to different sectors. We can, the Bureau can recommend to the central government, a particular sector can use a minimum share of ammonia, green ammonia, minimum share of green hydrogen, minimum share of biofuel, etc. So there can be a different possibility of use of non-conventional fuels or non-fossil fuels, which can decarbonize that particular sector. So these mandates are also available in the amendment in the to the EC Act. Now, in this Indian carbon market, there is a structure, and also there is a provisions for a verifier, carbon verifier. If we see the complete the institutional framework which we have developed for the carbon credit scheme, the detailed notification you can see on the website also. It was notified on 28th of June 2023. So you can see there is an apex committee which will give the recommendations to the central government, Bureau as an administrator. We will have technical committees for each and every sector. So the different sectors are listed, which includes green hydrogen. We will have, of course, a trading, which is a separate part, a trading regulator, CERC, who is the currently regulator for REC and ECerts market. There will be a registry for all of you. When you register the projects and you want to claim some carbon credits, you have to register the projects, and your credits will be maintained in the registry, which we can use it to transfer to 6.2 and 6.4, as mentioned by Sri Balaji in the morning. And then there is an accredited carbon verification agency. Now, this is where we are actually releasing a small document. It is a final draft for public consultation. It will be available on our website by Monday, and then you can give comments, you can go through that. We will be explaining this document today and releasing it so that you can go through. Now, the role of accreditation is basically to certify whether the carbon content or the GHG emission from that particular project or a particular production facility is actually complying to kg or not. So that is whether it is qualifying as a green hydrogen or not, and that product certification is very, very important to take forward this mission. So as we know that any voluntary market, if there is no baseline, you have to take the baseline. Now, Bureau will be taking forward the assessment of last 5 years. This is the process we will be also releasing shortly. That last 5 years, we will take out what is the carbon emission of all the production facilities in India. And we will take that average, and every year that we will be publishing, similar to what Central Electricity Authority is actually publishing as a grid emission factor, which is used to calculate the emission reduction from any renewable project. And whatever emission the project, if you are able to get 1.4 or 1.6, definitely below 2. So that difference will be actually lead to the claims for carbon credits. So this is the very simple method. For example, if we want to have a gray hydrogen production as a baseline, as I mentioned, Bureau will be assessing for the last 5 years average, then we can calculate, suppose if it's say 12 kg, which can be average of all kinds of, whether it is produced by naphtha or by natural gas or coal gasification, etc. And as you mentioned, if your production is say 2 or less than 2, say 1.9, 1.8, etc., depending on the kind of renewable and the other energy you are using. So difference can be something around 10 kg of CO2 per kg of hydrogen. Now that means for every 100 kg of hydrogen you are producing, you are eligible for 1 carbon credit, which is 1 ton of CO2. So that you can now evaluate what is your production, and if you are planning to sell it to different markets, like within India, perhaps we expect in next 3 to 5 years, the rates could reach somewhere $10 to $20 for one carbon credit. But there are many countries who can even offer, say, $50 or even $80. Currently, in European market, the rates are somewhere between 80 to 90 US dollars for one carbon credit. But again, there are different other eligibility conditions, etc. But this is the idea. You can plan your market, your financing, or your benefits accordingly. So this is the calculation. We can see the different kinds of production method, and Bureau will be publishing for every year. So that means we will publish for 23-24. So if you set up a facility in 23-24, what is your baseline? If you set up in 24-25, what is your baseline? Like that. And now this estimation or the assessment of your emission and what is the baseline, that will be formed in the form of a project. And that project will be actually validated by carbon verifiers, and who are those entities, how they will be empaneled or accredited by Bureau. That is another procedure, and that the document which we'll be releasing. You can see these are the most potential sector. Refinery, most of you are aware. The production, domestic production for the gray hydrogen, because they are using for desulfurization and bringing the crude oil or the diesel and petrol to BS6, which is less than 10 ppm of sulfur. Earlier it used to be BS4, which was less than 50, or BS3, which was less than 350. So these facilities in refineries, you can see the different kinds of fuel they have used to generate hydrogen, and what is their possible tons of CO2 per ton of hydrogen, or you can say kg of CO2 per kg of hydrogen which is produced. Now we will take average for every last 5 years, as I mentioned, and that will form the baseline for the verifier to actually assess the carbon credits. So as I mentioned, if you want to actually find out what is your financial benefits, additional financial benefits from the carbon market or carbon credits, this is a simple example. As I mentioned, you can take domestic rates somewhere between 10 to 15 US dollar as of now, or maybe it will increase depending on as we move ahead up by 2030. But in international, perhaps you can even expect something in between. Like Japan has given a minimum 4,000 yen, which is something around 30 US dollar per ton of CO2. That is their internal mechanism, as they mentioned. So you can expect different countries to offer different value for the carbon credits. And this is the procedure for issuance of carbon credits, eligibility, baseline, validation, and how these credits will be actually taken forward. Now, as again mentioned, the MNRE circular on 2 kg has prescribed that all these things will actually require a lot of clear certification, which is credible, also recognized not only within India, by other countries. So these country-to-country recognition we are trying to make out, and how these verifiers will actually ensure that the document and the certification is at par with international practice. So this complete accreditation procedure will be explained by Mr. Saurabh Didi, Director of Bureau of Energy Efficiency, my colleague, who is also the program head for carbon market and also for the accreditation. Mr. Saurabh Didi, please.
Thank you, sir. Very good morning to all of you. As you have seen, for the process of issuance of credits, we need to have first pre-registration, then post-registration, and then post-issuance things. In the pre-registration, you will have to show that eligibility of the project, how actually your project is eligible, whether to which route you are actually following, how much reduction you are going to have. So we will have a baseline. As DG sir said, that baseline will be notified. If we look at the international protocols, it says that either you have to have your own national baseline, or in the recent document they said 9 in case of gas, 9 kg CO2 per kg of hydrogen. Now, in our case, what we observed, it will come around 10 to 12 kgs of hydrogen in case of naphtha route. So we will issue that baseline on an annual basis, on a regular basis. Now, if we look at, because these projects will actually cover under the offset market, and if we look at this, This is quite similar to the CDM era, that how in CDM era, how we used to register our projects, but with the minor modification, and now it is as per the international protocol as well. So if we talk about UNFCCC latest regulations, in accordance with that, we have already modified. Only few changes that in our case, our accredited carbon verifiers will be used. As DG sir said that these draft procedure for accreditation will be issued in a couple of days, maybe today or tomorrow, by Bureau and for the public comments. And if you have any comments on that also, you can give us. So you have to design your document, project acceptance, validation, registration. This is the first step of the project. Then after implementation of the project, you will do monitoring, verification, and then carbon certificates will be issued. And potential buyers, this could be internationally traded, it could be with financial institutions, or also net zero targets can also be traded. We are also thinking on that how we can have this fungible with the compliance market as well. But as of now, we'll not say that those are the potential buyers, but in future that can also happen. Now, coming to the accreditation agencies, that who will be the accreditation agency? And as per the carbon credit trading scheme notification, these accredited agencies are agencies who will actually do verification and the validation part. That for any project, how it will be validated and how it will be verified, that part will be done by the accreditation carbon verification agencies. Then there will be some certain other conditions for the eligibility criteria of these agencies. Now, but what is the objective behind this? That what exactly they are going to do and why we are releasing this document. And these are also with the, what we have done is we compared international protocols for any accreditation procedures, be it European Union ETS, Emission Trading Scheme, or the UNFCCC, that how DOE is registered. So everything we compared, and then we are formulating our own criteria so that tomorrow people will not say that these people are not at par with the international standards. So these people should have minimum requirements, any applicant. Now, minimum requirement could be in two shapes. One is from the company's perspective, another is from the team's perspective. Then they have to have a very clear and transparent procedures so that how they are going to accredit, we need to know that. So we are issuing this document to have that. And again, these agencies have to be competent and neutral agencies. This is one of the major criteria. Now, we had divided this criteria into various segments: legal, financial stability, liability, confidentiality, management structure, safeguarding impartiality, competence requirement, and management. All those things he has to comply. Maybe few things, confidentiality, he has to give us an agreement, but he has to also work on that this data of one agency should not be shared with any other agency. So that kind of thing should happen. Now, if we look at the company's requirement, what we have requested that it should be a legal company under the Companies Act. Also, I'll say company which can be sued or can sue, that kind of a clause is there. And there is no pending judicial inquiry in case of malpractice, fraud, or similar activity. Then he should have a minimum turnover of 50 lakh, or in case it's a new agency, then also we are allowing it should have a 20 lakh rupees as a net worth. So which is, I will not say a big amount, so it cannot be a deterrent for any new company as well. Then it should have one accredited energy auditor, because a lot of things are related with energy, and then 2 energy auditors as a full-time employee in this company. Then he should have sector experts. For example, when we are talking about green hydrogen, he should have a sector expert for green hydrogen. If we are talking about steel sector, he should have sector expert from the steel industry. So that kind of a people. But these are not full-time employees. These can be part-time employees, or I'll say contract employees with that agency. Now, when these are the minimum requirement of the company, but as a team composition, when he has to send a team, we have divided these teams into 2 aspects. One is from the compliance mechanism, which is for the, I'll say, PAT kind of a scheme where targets of emissions will be given to industry, for example, steel sector or aluminum sector or pulp and paper sector. So these are the people who will do actually, who will check what is the specific emissions of that industry. So in this criteria, he has to have Bachelor of Engineering plus accreditation of energy auditor. So these kind of things are there, plus what we have said that ISO training or GHG emission training he should have. Now, we will specify which kind of training he should have, because otherwise there will be very vagueness in that. So we are defining what kind of exactly training or certification will mean. Then he should have 2 members from the, as an auditor who may not be accredited energy auditor, but they have to have energy auditors. Then sector expert related with the field, if he is doing survey or checking for steel sector, then steel person should be there, cement sector, cement should be there. Then for the other mechanism, that is when we are talking about green hydrogen mechanism, this is the thing. Now here we are not saying that he should have only engineering or certified energy auditors, because there could be certain other kind of projects as well which may not require engineers or certified energy auditors. So we are saying certification actually there it will be or, either he has to be certified energy auditor or training in GHG emissions. So there will be a minor change in this, and then he should have at least 10 years of experience of validation. So I will say any person who is actually doing ISO 14065 work, then also he will be eligible for that. So then 2 team members, again, maybe engineers or masters in science, then he should have training in GHG certification. This kind of things are there. Now, when we talk about sectors, here there are different type of sectors will be there. For example, first compliance market, first number PAT designated consumer sectors will be there. But remaining sectors, if you see 15 number is for green hydrogen and its derivatives. So these sectors, sector expert could be from any of these areas. So it could be from transport, it could be from mineral, depending on the project, kind of project you are applying for the registration. Then there will be accreditation procedure that if any company is applying for that, there will be a review of application. Then there will be an accreditation advisory committee who will actually may interview those agencies so that what we are hiring or what we are accrediting is actually capable of doing all those tasks. And then decision will happen and certificate will be issued. And on the right side, there is a constituent of the committee, that who will be the part of that committee who will actually do the accreditation. Then performance monitoring, which is very important, because in case they are not doing their task, then what will happen? So ACV has to furnish all the details, necessary documentation. So he will submit annual verification reports to Bureau. We will also do regular surveillance of ACVs so that there is no malpractice happening in this. So all those things we have included in the draft procedure for the ACV, that he should also know that what we are going to do to check him as well. So he is not indulging in all those malpractices. Then validation, cancellation, we kept all the procedures that in case he will do anything wrong, we can even cancel his certificate or accreditation as well. So all those things are there, and then withdrawal also can happen in case of such things. I think that's all from my side. If you have any questions.
Any questions? Otherwise, we will invite your written comments on this procedure. And of course, this procedure is going to help in making a pool, because once your projects are set up, you will need someone who will certify what is the content of whether it is complying with the green hydrogen or not as per the MNR standards. Because this certification will be required whether you are using it is a domestic purpose or whether you are exporting it or for any other carbon credit, etc. So that's the procedure of the certification. We are trying to keep it at par with the international verifiers, and at the same time, we don't want that our entities or our project developers need to get or hire someone from Europe or other countries and pay a very high cost, because it will be additional burden for all the projects for certification and verification. Thank you so much for opportunity given to us. Acha, okay.
Two questions.
Yeah. Yeah, any questions, please? Yeah.
Sir.
It's not a question, it's just a observation and a suggestion. See, this verification is also a form of a audit.
Yes.
Now, from the perspective of the industry, they will require number of audits. They have financial audit, they have environmental audit, now they will have they have your energy efficiency audit, and now this will be the emission audit. Let us try to reduce the compliance burden. And as I have been suggesting, this verification and audit of emissions, we should try to club those companies, for example, the chartered accountant firms. But a lot of these audits will also require the GST bills verification from those. So there is a synergy between the two. So encourage those chartered accountant firms to have these emission auditors and verifiers within their fold, so that a combined audit can be conducted. This will be greatly useful for the industry also, reduce the compliance burden, as well as the number of audits which will be required. They will all be commensurate with each other. They will be compatible with each other. There will not be contradictions or the divergence between two audits. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, sir. What we will approach, when we will approach all the industry, and we will also tell them, if you already have a chartered accountant, please ask him to get his expertise and get it accredited here also, so that there is no duplicacy of audits there. And they can as well give certification on environment, this GHG audit also for the green hydrogen. Because at the end, the green hydrogen, why we call it? It has to have a carbon content which is below the benchmark, and that has to be certified by someone. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Can I add here?
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of ESG, lot of chartered accountants are now having one vertical for ESG reporting. So they are actually getting such people, and merging. But although it's a business decision for them, but yes, this is a good idea. Yeah.
So, a suggestion here, because the mission also has a component for developing skill sets. So since the carbon verifiers and the team, they need to be skilled, they need to be trained. So we can look at synergies, and maybe we can also train them, or under the mission component also. Suggestion only.
Actually, we are planning for training of auditors on ISO 14065, as just now mentioned by Mr. Saurabh Dwivedi. If they have already trained, they can straightway submit their documents and get it accredited. Otherwise, if they want the training, and definitely once they are accredited on 14065, we would like to give them specific training on how to certify the green hydrogen. That also we will take up, and definitely we'll use the emissions part. Thank you. Any other question, please? Thank you very much for the appointment, and we look forward for your comment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Abhay Bakre, and also thanking Mr. Saurabh Dwivedi for sharing those information with us. May I request our scientist, Shri Sujit Pillai, to kindly come onto the stage, and I request once again Mr. Abhay Bakre to kindly join us onto the stage, and also Mr. Saurabh Dwivedi. We'd like to present a memento to our speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, those were the announcements from the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Ministry of Power, Government of India. We are also thanking Mr. Saurabh Dwivedi. With that, now we would take a short tea break, and since we are running little against time. I would request you all to kindly be on time. We're taking about a 20 minutes break here, and kindly join us back for our next session. In the meanwhile, please enjoy your tea, and also there are, the exhibition is open. Kindly enjoy the exhibition also. Thank you.